When I was at school, I was great at history. Oh, wait, no, I wasn't. There's so much nudity on TV. I just sit there shaking my fist. But anyway, my doctor thinks I'm taking too many hallucinogenic drugs. How do I know? I just say a little bird told me.
Oh, flipping hell.
So I phoned up a spiritual leader in Tibet. He sent me a large goat with a long neck. Turns out I phoned Dalai Lama.
You can stop now, Lee. You can stop. You really can. Come away from the light. Come away from the light.
My life was quite sad, really. I was a young lad living under a poker table. I just had a chip on my shoulder.
Oh, God.
I used to work in a shoe shop. I manufactured clown shoes, which is no small feat.
For anyone listening, and I really do mean that, anyone listening, when we go out for drinks, this is what he's like.
Yeah. Yes, actually.
Yeah. I was going to join the debating team, but somebody talked me out of it.
God, it's like fucking Speed, isn't it? It's like he's got to tell 50 jokes an hour, otherwise he explodes or something.
Yeah. My teacher said I'd do so much better at school if I stopped flirting, so I immediately got off his lap. Oh, dear. Anyway. My therapist says I've got
no, there's another one. Oh,
I've got preoccupation with vengeance. We'll see about that.
Jesus.
Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the second take of Black Dog version 2, 214. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Elton.
And this week we will see how many people had an actual week to talk about, and then we will have some questions with questions and answers. We'll have some feedback if there's any for last week's episode, and then we'll be reviewing this week's movie, which was my choice, which was a completely blind pick, which was Jake Gyllenhaal in Enemy. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, before we get to that, and by the way, if everyone sounds a little quiet on the line right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's because I've just done 30 odd jokes because the first take didn't work. So you'll be pleased to hear there's a missing take of about 10 jokes. So you're welcome. But before we get to that, Jim, let's see how your week's been, sir. Hello. How you doing, sir? How's your week?
Been fairly quiet. Just a follow-up from last week, I completed building the coal frame and painted it as well for good measure.
Right, cool.
Which was, as last week, the weather cooperated and was going to stay fine all week. It meant I could do a bit every day and let that dry. And then, so it's had a good couple of coats. I'm quite pleased with it. It all went very smoothly until the end because I masked off all the paints to get nice edges.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the masking tape I had turned out to be shit.
Oh.
Because I used to get masking tape from a much missed chainsaw called Wilkinson's. And their masking tape was the business. It was just sticky enough. It used to peel off a dream. The stuff I got, I can't remember where I got it from. But every single one I went to peel off, it just sheared and didn't. It just ripped down the middle. And so there was much mucking about with scalpels and swearing. But it's all off now, and it looks okay. It's only a coal frame at the end of the day. But yeah, so that's all done, and it's got seedlings in growing. And,
nice.
Yes, so we're having our own spring onions and stuff like that. And
nice.
Baby carrots. And yes, that's all good. And so other than that, not really done a right lot. Other than
that's fine.
I found on Amazon Prime, there are two films I know of by reputation.
Okay.
Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula, which are both actually also known as Andy Warhol's Dracula and Andy Warhol's Frankenstein. They both star Udo Kier.
Yes.
And they're quite something.
I'll confess something. Years and years and years ago, back in the days of the Betamax, I managed to sneak a look at Flesh for Frankenstein because our next door neighbour had it. Through shall we say under the desk methods, and yeah, the video shop and the neighbour have both gone now, so don't worry. I'm not putting anyone in legal jeopardy, but yeah, it's quite the thing, isn't it, Jim?
Well, what's he watching though? You can see definitely, particularly Flesh for Frankenstein. I will put a good bet on that Stuart Gordon, who made Reanimator, had seen that.
Yes.
And also that Richard O'Brien, who did Rocky Horror Picture Show, has seen it as well.
Yes. Yes.
And it is kind of, if you want like the great grandfather of those two films, that's it there.
Yeah. Would you recommend it for a 9-year-old though?
Probably not, no.
I didn't think so.
I mean, to be honest, if I had seen it at a younger age, I'd have thought they were dreadful. But seeing them now, I actually get they're both actually sort of quite dark satires.
Yeah.
Just the humour of Udo Kier's fucking berserk performances, delivering lines, "To know death, Otto, you must fuck life in the gallbladder."
Yeah. That's a phrase that's said out loud.
See, that's what happens when you go cheap on Duolingo. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's right. That's when
Yeah,
you
I'd love to see the icons for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you rely on Google Translate for the wrong thing. Yeah,
Absolutely. But it was nice to finally see them, and the kind of like me and Teresa was rolling around pissing ourselves, going like, "Fucking hell, what's going on in these films? They're really strange." But I'll say I do appreciate at least there's one streaming service that shows old movies, and we'll dig these sort of things up and stick them on for you.
Yeah,
rather than Netflix, where it goes before 2010. Oh, that's granddad stuff. You know.
Is that on Prime completely without subscription to something like Shudder?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, I say nice. I don't think I'll ever watch him again.
But it's going, I've always wanted to see those. And, brilliant. That's a future episode when I've recovered.
Yeah. You could probably do a couple of episodes on those, I suspect, once you start diving into it all.
Yeah, I have to do a bit of research. There's a few interesting stories, I believe, about the making of.
I can only imagine.
But the makeup effects was Carlos Rambaldini,
yes,
better known as the man who made the Dunes, David Lynch Dune Sandworms, and E.T.
That's right, and he also did some of the mechanical mouth effects for Giger's Alien.
Yes, yeah.
Giger's Alien.
Yeah.
Though admittedly, I think Giger actually said that he made it look like a piss poor robot. But then again, he had opinions. But yes. But anyway, yes. So oh right, okay. So you're that's a future Hypnagoria on the way, is it?
I think so, definitely. I've got a few of these that are lined up. I'm sort of getting up for a series of kind of odd takes on the famous monsters.
Yes,
I recently also discovered Jesse James versus Frankenstein's daughter and Billy the Kid versus Dracula, which were also made back to back as strange horror western hybrids in the late 50s.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah, I must admit, anything like that, I've got a kind of morbid curiosity to find out what they're like, but also I don't think I've got enough time left on Earth to look them up and go through it all. So you're doing the Lord's work, Jim, bringing these things to our attention. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. So, Flesh for Frankenstein, I'll put that down on Amazon. That's brilliant. Okay, that'll be on the docket soon. Right. Brilliant. Anything else, sir?
No, I'll leave it at that, I think.
Okie dokie. Elton, over to you, mate. You haven't done much, have you?
No, it's been very, very quiet, I'm afraid. So, yeah.
That's perfectly cool. There is perfectly cool, mate. So, in which case, we shall move sideways along the corridor to Mr. Barnard.
Yes, indeedy.
And how was your week? Hello there. How's your week?
Hello there. My week was just fairly quiet, really. Mm-hmm. Fairly quiet. But we did go out to the cinema again, as we have done quite a bit recently. Mm-hmm. And this week we went to watch Death of a Unicorn.
How did I know you would see that?
Indeedy. I seem to be watching quite a few of these sort of indie type horror films.
A24 movies.
Yeah, those sort of things, which are, they're not, they're not serious films at all. They've got quite an air of comedy to them, and this is no different. It's got General Tager in it. Let's see, Paul Rudd is in there as well. Jessica Hines, believe it or not, is in there as well. Playing the chief sort of servant person at Richard E. Grant's manor.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There's quite a few people in it I know that I've seen in other things, and it's like, wow, this obviously cost quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But yes, it's all about a girl and her dad who are going off to a rich person's retreat because her father has just joined their business. He's gone out. He's got up a few rungs in the ladder, and I think he's the head of the accounting department now. Yeah. But anyway, they invite him out, and while they go out there, they hit what they think is a horse to begin with, and then they get closer to it and find out it's actually a unicorn. Right?
Okay,
so this is it, and they're kind of like, "Oh, fuck!" And of course, it gets round that these people that they're going to visit, the head of the family, played by Richard E. Grant, needs a little help in the old health department. And they get this unicorn in. And yes, it's magical properties from there. And so it's now the whole thing of exploitation. What can we do? But of course, it doesn't go straight like they're hoping it does, because all hell suddenly fucking breaks loose. Now, this film is a 15, but I'll tell you what, it's a very brutal 15. I don't know how they got away with putting it as a 15 for a couple of the scenes in it, which are quite fucking like, Jesus H. Christ.
Right.
What sort of severity can I I'm pretty sure I've seen a film before where somebody falls into a fucking horde of zombies, and you see like him getting pulled apart, legs suddenly fly up in the air. Something like that, you know. But it's that kind of level of gore. And you will see gore in this.
Yeah.
It is a good laugh. It's nothing too original, but as they say, it's the way you tell them, really.
Yeah.
So, we thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was a good laugh. And I recommend, if you've got something you want to go to the pictures and you want to go see something, you do a lot worse than going to see this, I say.
Okay.
So,
cool.
There you go.
Nice. Okay. And is it? Does it actually make you laugh? Is it actually funny?
Yes, it is funny, but it's more. It's basically taking a swipe at corporations and the people that run them, and how the rich, even though they're into a lot of giving money to charity and stuff like that, don't actually care what the charity's doing. As framed by Tia Leone, as she's talking about, we've got some what is it? We've got some refugees to rescue, or is that inoculate? Oops, I can't quite remember.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it's very very cynical in that sense. You know, it's the standard tropes. They're all it's very much sort of caricatures.
Yeah,
that are at play here.
Yeah. They're grandstanding their privilege as a rescue thing. They kind of thing. Yeah,
they keep finding a way to put a spin on things, like you know what they're doing with the unicorn and stuff like that.
Right. Okay, I see.
But you know, those sort of things will only get you so far.
Yeah,
and they won't protect you when you get attacked, especially the way that they get attacked. Jesus H. Yes.
Okay.
So
it's pretty hardcore.
We took Maria with us to see this because she's 16 now, so it's like, you know, she can come along and see these films.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. This one bit where this one character gets torn to pieces right there in front of you. I turned and looked at her, and she's basically got a hand plastered right over her mouth, eyes the size of saucers, sort of like, what have you brought me to?
Congratulations, you've given her a formative memory.
Exactly.
Or is it therapy?
I don't know.
Nice.
Oh, do you remember that time when we took you to the cinema and traumatized you?
Yeah. Do you remember that when you used to think that unicorns are nice, pretty, lovely creatures, and we disavowed you from that idea?
Trust me on this. You won't think they're that harmless anymore. There's no no fairy tale here. A complete and utter fucking nightmare for these people.
Nice.
When it gets going.
As only it should.
As only it should be. Yes.
Nice. Cool.
So
excellent.
Yep. I'm thinking, is there anything else?
It's cool. It doesn't have to be anything else.
Nope. I can't think of anything at all.
Oakley dokley, mate. Well, that's cool.
Just one other thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Now we recently got a Disney account back again. So like 3 months of free Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ree has been dipping in there, and she's been watching Grey's Anatomy.
Oh God.
Right?
Okay.
And I've been getting wrapped up in this. I mean, I've got a few episodes there that I thought were really, really good.
Is that the Alien Autopsy show?
Yeah, you think so.
Nice.
But no.
Nice.
Like I say, there are some standout episodes, especially one where this guy turns up at the hospital. His wife has died, and he's blaming the actual staff, and then he goes around executing members of staff. He's got a handgun, and it's just like there's this fucking diehard hostage situation, and he's not fucking about, this bloke.
So Casualty, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. But I've got to say, it does nothing to change my opinion that any characters in this show obviously live in an alternate reality to what we live in ourselves, because they would not last 3 days.
Right.
In a proper fucking hospital, just because of all the fucking personal shit they bring to the table. You've got a person who's bleeding out there, and it's like, I didn't like the way you cooked that omelette last night. You know, it's that kind of thing. You looked at me funny. What was that all about? So,
yeah. What on earth?
You be quiet, patient.
Right. Okay.
Indeed. So, the people in Casualty, just the whole lot of them. This is not realistic at all.
Right.
Because there would be an awful lot more dead bodies about, I think.
Yeah.
If these characters were actually in medicine.
Well, I mean, it's the typical hospital thing, isn't it? It's that whole. Well, it's just that whole thing about like, oh, you can't just have someone who's in, who's got drama or, who's ill. No. Just, yeah. But, but anyway, so you can't have that. But then all of a sudden it's like, we've got to have personal dramas, interpersonal dramas.
Yeah, that get in the fucking way. And you're sitting there going, that person over there is about to cark it, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Deal with them.
Deal with them.
Do your personal shit after that's been dealt with.
Yeah,
fucking twats.
I'm fucking dying. Oh God.
But anyway, yes. So that's my week basically. So there we are. That's how exciting it's been.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. Moving on to my
Indeed,
week.
moving
then.
on.
But before we do my week, I've literally just popped up on my news ticker that the BFI are about to do on the 12th of June a film on film festival celebrating the medium of print. And do you know what they're going to show as their opening film?
Go on then.
The original 1977 theatrical cut of Star Wars.
Oh.
No special editions, no extra shots, no hand shooting first or just shooting second or any of that bollocks. They're actually putting out the full original version.
That is going to be a very, very interesting, a very interesting watch, I think, for most people.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people complain about the, these new editions, but people haven't seen this cut. So people haven't seen this cut for ages. And
don't say something you're going to regret.
No, I'm just saying. It's where they say don't meet your heroes, right?
Dude.
It's kind of like that. No, let's just
Darren's
be honest,
fingers
right?
on the button.
Yeah,
I know it is. Okay, look,
it's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm getting flashbacks to when we had that moment on the Facebook group when suddenly random people started turning up, telling us how Phantom Menace was an unappreciated genius, and it's just like fuck off. I'm not having reappraisals on this. No way.
It's just. I think there'll be one or two people who go, oh, like that. As in a bit sort of disappointed when they watch it.
Okay.
I think there will be. I think it's just because it's the whole thing of that version hasn't been seen in ages, and we've had the upgraded versions kind of fire at us all the time. I'm just wondering if maybe some people are remembering the originals with rose tinted specs.
Wow.
And then they see the quality of the effects compared to what. I don't know. It'll be. I mean, I've got the originals. I've actually got the Laserdisc. I've got Laserdisc copies of the original cut. So
have you got a Laserdisc player to play on, Dal?
Yes, I have. Yes, it's sat right over there in the corner, next to my cinema ticket for Cinema Equidistant. I'm going to go and see my next film. I've got my voucher. I've got a Cinema Equidistant voucher. Yep,
Are they from the DVDs that were released with the special editions, but they also released the Laserdiscs?
No, they're actually pulled from the master negatives from the BFI.
I've got those.
Oh, you got those?
I've got those. Yes, I've got. Three films.
Hold on. What are we talking about here? The ones that the BFI are showing is going to be from the negatives. Going to be an original negative.
Oh right, okay. These ones, I'm pretty sure they are. I've got the Laserdisc versions.
Yeah, I've got the Laserdisc versions. Are you sure you haven't got the D?
No, these
specialized versions.
Yeah, despecialized versions.
No, these are the actual. These are the Laserdisc versions. You can see like the matting around various shots in space, and that's a little bit darker. That square around that TIE fighter there, isn't it? Look, the rest of the thing. Yes.
Yeah, the Blimey Charlie Crikey Vision versions. They show up some of the things. I always remember the one for Empire Strikes Back when you can see through the console of the snow speeder and see the actual walker behind it. But Anyway, so apparently the tickets for the film festival go on release May 6th, and the festival starts June 12th, and Star Wars Original will be in it at the BFI.
Excellent stuff.
So there you go. And it will be just simply called Star Wars, not even Star Wars New Hope. So it hasn't even got New Hope on the crawler at the start. So it's the completely original theatrical. We didn't know we were getting a sequel version.
I wonder how they managed to cop hold of that.
Well, it's the BFI. They probably spoke to the AFI to get the original masters, I would imagine.
Didn't George Lucas try to get that?
He did.
Squirreled away, and they just went. Did they tell him to just stick it where your lightsaber don't shine?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see. He doesn't have control anymore, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't. No.
So maybe Disney just like to have a little bit more money from that Star Wars. For them,
maybe they do.
Their Star Wars is.
Their Star Wars is.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they'll re-release that. Eh?
Yeah.
As
who
in,
knows?
Blu-ray or something.
Maybe 4K release.
Maybe.
Thoughts. Anyway, yes. So let's just move on. My week, by the way, I'll just go through it really quickly. Finished the first season of Lincoln Lawyer. Very much enjoying that. So I'm digging that. I'm really digging that. I'm enjoying that a lot. And that's on Netflix. Then we found ourselves, me and Carol found ourselves at a bit of a loose end because we've got to the end of like various seasons of various shows. And rather than diving into the same shows again, so like Bosch and Lincoln Lawyer and Burn Notice and all that sort of stuff, we made a return back to Daredevil after the first episode utterly underwhelmed me, and we've now binged through to season 2, episode 5. It's interesting. I was talking about this only about an hour before we started recording with Lisa. But it feels like when they were making the show, it was being made and then it got stopped by Disney, and then they reshot a lot of stuff, and it feels like you can actually see it. I don't know whether it's weird or just I'm putting some bias on it, but there are definitely what I call Disney episodes, and there are old Netflix production team episodes,
right?
Because we watched 3 episodes on the bounce where it's all very gritty and psychological and dark, and everyone's thinking about their things and they're not saying things out loud and all this kind of thing. But but it's all implied. What I was saying about first episode where it's like symbolism. Is he feeling the devil inside? Well, of course he is, because the red light's shining on him, sort of thing. And then I got to another episode, which was just a sort of siege in a bank. Hero saves the day while protecting his identity. And it was just like, this feels like it's come from a completely different show. It's like so lightweight and farty arse and just sort of like Saturday afternoon tea time telly.
Yeah. And
they just stick like a leg break in there and a couple of swears to make it, it's still the same Daredevil. And it's like, don't feel like it. And I'm starting to wonder whether or not we're getting like, there's a Disney episode and then there's a Netflix episode and there's a Disney episode and then a Netflix episode. Like, for example, and there's no spoilers here, there was an episode where two shall we say corrupt officials of the city kick in a door, underestimate that the blind lawyer is actually a hardened fucking vigilante, and you're left in no doubt by the fight precisely the state these two cops were in. So one gets like basically punched to within an inch of his life, and the other one gets sort of suplexed onto his head, and you literally see his neck turn 90 degrees. Yeah. But the next episode, the one with his 90-degree neck turns up with a couple of bruises on his eyes, and you think, hang on. I clearly watched an episode where this guy was at best put in a wheelchair and at worst is dead as dead fucking can be. And yet the next episode, he turns up to be a sort of, well, you thought you got me, did you, dirty copper? And you think, you seem to be particularly mobile for someone who literally used his entire body weight as a sack for his own head.
It's how this broken neck's doing for you then.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's this kind of weird vibe of kind of like, because the episode with that happens ends on a cliffhanger of you're like, oh fuck, how's Matt gonna get out of this kind of situation? He's made a big rod for his back here, and then 5 minutes later you're watching the next episode and the two people who were basically beaten to death, are walking around going, "Yeah, Murdoch, you don't farm me no more," sort of thing. You're thinking, you seem remarkably alive for someone whose head was literally able to see his own arse. So there's lots of that kind of going on at the moment, and it's kind of as long as you don't pay attention to certain details like that one, you kind of go, "Oh, I'm enjoying this." And if you do, you suddenly go, "Oh, hang on." Hang on, the mouse has clearly stepped in and gone, "We can't have Daredevil do these kind of things." That just wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good. The kids might get scared. So yeah. But I'm enjoying it. I have to say, I'm enjoying it. I was cynical on it on the first episode, but I've warmed up to it. So yeah, owning up to that. Then after last week's episode, I did something what I'm now calling a gym. I did a gym, which is it's late night. You're sitting there and you think, I'll just go look online for some shopping stuff for my interests, be it synthesizers or whatever, and I might purchase a thing that I normally, in the light of day and slightly more sober, might not necessarily have purchased. And
penis pump?
No, well, actually, no. Yeah, now you mention it. No.
Who put that in there, baby? That's not mine.
It's not mine. It's not my bag, baby.
What is this? This is what's this thing here, Carol? I'm glad you pointed this out to me. It's a fleshlight.
Yes.
What's one of them? Is that like a torch? Is it?
No, it's a bottle opener. Honest.
Yes, it is. Yes,
it's an automatic cork extractor.
It takes a couple of goes, but it does pop the cork by the end of it. Honest.
Yeah. Just be sure to take the cork out.
Yep.
Anyway, no. So I bought myself a Commodore 64.
Holy shit! What you mean? A Commodore 64 Mini?
No. Full keyboard, working, bread basket.
So is it
bread bin
is
thing?
It the large version of it, or is it
the large version?
Right. Okay. So
it's on my Facebook.
Remake.
It's on my Facebook wall. It's literally a big, stonking great working keyboard, working everything.
Oh, man.
With the 2-button Kempston joystick, the whole lot.
Do you know? I want this. I actually want the Spectrum version, the one called the Spectrum. I really, really want that.
Yeah,
£89, but they keep selling out.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the scalpers were taking these things, and basically, if you look on eBay now, a C64 Maxi, as it's called, is something like 200, 300 quid if you try and buy it off of eBay or anywhere like that. And some of them are doing it for like 600 quid. And I'm just sitting there and I'm sort of just listening to some music and editing the podcast and whatnot. And then all of a sudden I thought, I wonder if they still do them. So I looked it up and there was a kind of an announcement that they might do a new run. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll get one next time when it's not going to cost me like literally a kidney. And then I noticed that on the shopping bar along the top, the Google shopping bar, they do that shopping thing and they just little cards.
Yeah.
Selfridges, right down the very end. Selfridges had one. Yeah, I know. I didn't even think they were still around.
Wow.
But Selfridges, as in Selfridge & Co., their online tech store, actually had one. And they only had one, and it was at cost price.
Which was
100 quid.
Oh, very nice.
As opposed to 250, 300 quid or whatever the scalpers decided to pick. So I got one and it turned up and it's been sitting here and I have played all sorts. I have played Monty on the Run. I've played The Sentinel. I have played Nemesis. I've played R-Type. I've played, Bounder. I've played Thing on the Spring. I've played Nebulous. I've played Commando. I have played Ballblazer. I have played Rescue on Fractalus. I have played...
Oh, my word!
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I have played the original Speedball. I've played... what's the other one I've played? Gunship. Rambo. Oh God, the fucking lot! I have gone absolutely doolally for this thing, and Paradroid and Iridium, and
Oh my word!
Sanxon, and and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect, and it's got a little HDMI slot coming out of it now, so you can plug it straight into your telly. You can put the scan lines back in. You can slap it back to 4.3. And just for the extra authentic experience, the cables are only long enough so that the computer's comes out about an inch out from underneath the TV stand. So I'm sitting there like an 8-year-old again, cross-legged, playing this thing, literally about a foot away from a 55-inch screen. It's like I'm literally getting the scale right as well. It's like I'm that small compared to that telly, and it's glorious. It's glorious. Rainbow Islands, Bubble Bobble. I've played those. Oh, I'm so good at Bubble Bobble. I forgot how good I was at Bubble Bobble.
Just looking online now, and it looks like Amazon has got the Spectrum back in stock.
Yeah.
Do it. Well, actually, I think this might be because I looked. It's got a sticker on the front. I'm thinking that's a European version, isn't it? That's hold on. What's this? Multi-region 720. Yeah, I think this is a German.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Strike your wallet down and your journey towards the dark side will be complete. It's fully
I want you to behead him. Do it.
Kill him. Kill him, Anakin. Do it.
Oh, man.
Take it and your journey towards the Spectrum side will be complete.
This is just between us and the listeners, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Goes no further.
No. I'm sure he doesn't listen to this anymore.
I can't.
What's that? Buy a Spectrum.
Yeah. Let's say 96 quid. 96 quid. Well,
anyway,
all the bells and whistles on it. Fantastic. Okay. Motherfucker.
Anyway.
720 HD. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. The Spectrum. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Fastest free delivery Wednesday, the 16th of April.
This one, free delivery by Saturday the 12th.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as well.
Yes, Peter won't be in. But, nope. Walk away. Walk away. Craig David, walk away. I'm walking away.
From the retro console here, I'm walking away.
Well, right.
if you change your mind, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, look, the C64 retro games. Look, see, even on Amazon, it's like 140 quid. They've started to ramp it up already. But there you go. Never mind, mate. But I've had a lovely time with
$89.99 Argos.
What?
Nothing.
The Spectrum.
I love that. Nothing. What?
Are you about to tell me that my thing that I bought for 100 quid is 89 quid?
Or at Smythe's Toy Store.
What?
They made,
what?
Yes, the Spectrum. Yeah,
Yep,
the Spectrum,
yep.
$89.99. Looking at it right now.
Fuck off the lot of you.
Looking at it right now.
That's 45 quid. 45 quid a month.
Oh, look at that.
Got an Argos card I could buy on there.
Yeah, flexible and interest-free credit available. Spread it. 3 interest-free payments at £30 a pop. Do it on PayPal. Do 3 interest-free payments. What's it got on here? Oh, it's got Saboteur. Look at that. It's nice. It's got Football Manager, Jet Set Willy, The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
Head over heels.
Stand there bashing my head against the door for fucking 3/4 of an hour.
That's it. Army Moves.
Oh,
what's that? Rebel Star Raiders. Oh.
Hold on. Yes, hold on. Hold on, let's have a look at this. Check
Oh.
stock to see the options.
Yeah.
Let's put my postcode in.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Let's have a look. Let's check that, baby. Click and collect. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is called enabling.
Yeah, this is peer pressure. That's what this is. Oh,
Peer
fucking
pressure
hell.
and
They've got it back in. They've
Yeah,
got it
don't-
back in stock.
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. It's got rubber keys and everything.
Oh, you don't know how much this is killing me looking at this.
Horace Goes Skiing, Gilligan's Gold, Domark's Revenge,
You know what?
Cybernoid.
Do you know what's really, really tempting for this is the 89 nectar points from buying this thing from Argos.
You've changed. You've
I have
changed.
changed, yes.
You've changed so much.
Nectar points?
Nectar
Oh,
points,
actually,
Christine.
you remember those Game & Watches that they used to do? Apparently,
Yeah.
if I buy the Spectrum and I buy the Orb Mini handheld console that looks like a Game & Watch, that'll be $114.99.
Nice. That doesn't mean anything to me. That just
No, it
means you're
doesn't.
spending more money. Oh, well. Anyway, there you go. Great piece of kit for some nostalgia. But
too far?
how far? Never too far. There's no such thing as too far. Anyway, so that was my big moment because basically I've been sitting there going boss-eyed in front of a 55-inch screen while sitting about a foot away from it, getting slowly irradiated while I play a game from 1982. The only other thing I've watched this week was ill-advised, I think is probably the best thing to say. We were watching the Lincoln Lawyer, and it went on, and we finished it all off. And Carol went to bed, and I went on to like the film channels, and it was like late at night. And you know when you you see a film or you hear of a filmmaker, and you think, well, at least let's look at it. And have you heard of a filmmaker called Gaspar Noé?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
I have, but it was the thing that the doctor was explaining to me that she's got tablets for. Don't worry, Mr. Barnard. It's really not that serious. Not if we get to it early.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're not far off actually with the actual film. But the thing is, I've seen him referenced in many kind of like, oh, he's a very challenging filmmaker and all sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, fuck it. You know what? One of his films is on. It's got a dodgy name. I'll give you that. It's called Climax. And I thought,
okay,
you know what? I'll give it a look. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I sat there watching this thing. And essentially, how can I put this? If you would be the best description would be if the kids from Fame had an end of school party and someone spiked the punch with LSD. What would that look like? And that is essentially the whole film.
right?
They do dancing, and there's lots of dancing, and some of it's impressive dancing. Lots of stuff done in a single take, and then someone spikes the punch with LSD.
Right.
We don't know who, and then what happens is unwittingly, the entire troupe of about 12, 15 dancers who all have little sort of interpersonal things going on, all drink the punch, including a 6-year-old kid, and then all hell breaks loose for the next, I don't know, about the next 80 minutes. It's and this is the kind of where we are. They all dance, they all have a bit of a row, they have a bit of a fight, and then they have another dance, and then what happens is the lady basically wheezes herself in the middle of the room, and then everyone figures out shit's going south. And then what happens is there's lots of sex, there's lots of violence, there's a little tiny 6-year-old freaking out in a cupboard because he's taken LSD and they've locked him in the cupboard so he doesn't get hurt by the other people who are all going absolutely freaky go bonkers. There's a techno soundtrack. Every colour in the rainbow is fired at your eyes, and every now and again the camera kind of stands up in the air and everyone does a dance, and then basically people die, and then the police turn up, and then the film ends. And I sat there thinking, What a load of old bollocks. It's certainly a visually arresting film, but it is one of those films where you just sit there going, what on earth am I watching? Why am I watching a bunch of insufferable drama school students improving a film where they've been basically drugged up? I think it must be a good effect, but this lady winging herself in the middle of the bloody dance hall was kind of like where I went, oh, it's this kind of film, is it? And that's where it all went on the wonk, to say the least. It's just bizarre. It's not a film I'd recommend to anyone at all, even out of curiosity. But if you like dancing, it's the first 5 minutes has got an interesting dance routine that goes on for fucking ever. But it's it's impressive. But God Almighty, by the end of it, you're just thinking, oh right. So the kid's died. The mum's killed herself. There's, three people have checked themselves to death. One's gone out in the snow and frozen to death outside a door. Another two people have killed each other. One's plugged himself into the light bulb. Oh, right, okay. Otherwise, we're doing all right. Don't watch it. Is it long enough? Yeah. Don't watch it. Or maybe just wait until it's a Sunday afternoon and your nan's round and you want to just,
get rid of her.
Get rid of her, exactly. So there you go. So that's my week. Let's quickly move on to this week's questions and answers with Asking for Trouble.
There are more questions than answers.
So we start this week with a question from Ian Spaceshipstead on the Facebook group, who said, if you could go back in time, would you kill Hitler?
How far back are we going?
As far back as you need to. Presumably when Hitler was around. Otherwise it becomes a little difficult when you're sitting there in Jurassic Park 65 million years before he was born. Well, go on then, Elton. You spoke up. Go on.
Did you? I did, didn't I?
You put your head above the parapet. Go on, mate.
Would I kill him?
Knowing what he's about to do.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yes.
You would?
Yep. Any age. Yes. I'll do it for everyone.
Right. Okay. Right. Jim?
Fight me.
It's fine. It's fine. Jim?
Well, I actually already did this, but it didn't go out so well. I hatched a plan with Einstein, and what it led to was the rise of Stalin and a massive, war through most of the 20th century until the Tiberium came down and the Brotherhood of Nod rose from the ashes. So I went back in time and undid it, okay?
Fucking Command and Conquer. Jesus Christ. Deep cut from Mr. Jim. Okay. Darren, are you there with Tim Curry shouting at the screen?
This is a difficult one.
Go on.
This is a difficult one because, nature abhors a vacuum. So, and I know this is, I mean, how much worse could somebody possibly be? But it's
stay tuned for more details in 2025.
Yes, indeed. Yep. I'm just looking over the pond right now, actually. Yes. No. I'm not looking to take over the world. I just want a little piece. A little piece of France, a little piece of Germany.
Yes.
Yep.
So would you?
Yeah, but I don't know what would replace him. That's the thing. Would somebody come along that's even worse? And who knows what could come out of keeping certain people alive as well. It's just such a...
Dan, I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is the answer not yes?
It's exactly that. You don't know what you're going to unleash on the world if he's not there.
But you know what you're going to unleash on the world if he is there.
I know. But what are you going to unleash on the world if he's not? That's the thing, right? What if this turns out to be a bit of a bad decision because of somebody who should have died during that period stays alive and becomes even worse than him? It's always possible.
I mean, you could say that there are 6 million people who might disagree with your decision to keep him alive, Dal.
It's just.
One of them people that he killed may have discovered the cure for, I don't know, some disease that we can't cure at the moment.
Yeah, and one of those people that he didn't, that he killed, who's still alive, may start World War III, and well, we may be standing in the sort of like ashy ruins of the rest of the world.
Actually, it would be World War II because we hadn't had World War II.
No, it would be World War II. That's it.
He's correct. He's technically correct.
Yep.
Which is the special kind of correct.
Indeed.
I mean, I take Darren's point. There are things that we know happened because of World War II. None of them pleasant, but there are things that came out of it.
Like NATO. That came out of World War II.
Mm-hmm. And
so, yep.
How's that going for you now?
What you mean now that What you mean now that Coco the Clown is driving the US car now? You know the fucking that thing. You mean?
God, that bloke, fucking hell.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping on topic for 1 second.
But just remember, only the weak will fail. Okay, only the weak will fail. Just remember that. All right.
Yeah, I think the argument I would say for not doing it is it's a timeline we understand and a timeline we have dealt with, and we are here because of it. That's the reason why I wouldn't. However, the reason why I would is because, basically Germany's issues were through money. That's essentially where it came from. They got bankrupted by World War One and reparations and the Treaty of Versailles and all that kind of stuff. So essentially, at some point, they would have gone back into the black, so to speak, financially, and reparations would have happened, and therefore the country would have settled down. In theory, all they just needed to do was just, keep their head down for a few more years. And then that would have been that, and there would have been no World War II. Whether or not that would have happened, we don't know. But I would say that, you could certainly argue that taking them out and keeping 6 million people alive is definitely the smart choice. I would think. However,
you would, yes, yeah. But also remember also another thing as well is during wartime, that's when you see the greatest scientific leaps in technology and everything else, because we're having to really put our minds to it to
counterpoint. One of the scientific leaps that happened because of World War II is the nuclear bomb.
Yes.
Which we wouldn't have had to use and would not technically have used by now because there would have been no war to use it in.
But what if someone else had been developing it and got to it before the Americans did?
They didn't. The Germans were developing it because they were developing it as well, but they didn't get it done. But they were doing it because of the World War II.
But I'm just like...
I watched Oppenheimer.
You've watched it? I've seen this, yes, there we go. Robert Downey Jr. told me this, yes.
Exactly, and if Iron Man's wrong, I don't want to live in a world where he's right.
That's right, yes. Yeah. So there you go. Oh, I don't know, it's a hard question. All I could see is Tom Baker stood there now with 2 bits of wire in his hands. If I touched these 2 bits of wire together and killed the Daleks, why have I got the right to end the life of a race? Yeah, it's
not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, Shall we just move on? If anybody wants to leave a little feedback themselves for this one, go on the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast, or just hit me up on Facebook on Blue Sky, which is cartoonbeardy.bsky.com .social. Sorry. Yeah, I think I would, but but there's so many unknowns. You don't know where you'd end up with it. I mean, you could argue you'd end up with no nuclear weapons. You could argue you'd end up with no NATO. You could argue you end up with no space program. But is that a small price to pay to keep 6 million people alive? I'd say probably. On balance. Anyway, moving on. The next question. We had 2 from Michael Wilding. One as one question and one as a follow-up. So, out of all the films you've reviewed, which was the worst one that you'll never watch again, and why?
Oh.
And the follow-up is, what is the worst one what is the worst one we reviewed that you would watch again?
There's a couple of years of films here that we got to think about.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
I'll just jump on Google Drive now and just have a look at the do the albatross thing.
No,
Okay.
no.
I will never, ever watch Hands of Manos again.
Okay, that's cool.
That
It was Oliver.
Tyrannosaurus thing with what's her face.
Oh, Tammy and the T-Rex.
Nah, don't watch that again.
Oliver Monk was the one who asked about the follow-up, which is the worst one we'd like to watch again. Yeah, I don't know. I got a soft spot for Tammy and the T-Rex. It was quite stupid. But it wasn't the worst one we've ever watched. I mean, there's been some shit. I mean, fucking Larmageddon. Remember that?
Oh, God.
Larmageddon was atrocious. That's definitely the bottom of my list. That and Saturnalia, whatever it was called.
Oh, God.
Saturnia.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
That was one of the worst things we've ever sat through.
That
And it was
fucking
short. It was
awful.
one of the shortest as well. That's what edges it for me.
Yeah.
House of the Dead.
Oh, God, House of the Dead. Yeah, that was before Jim and Elton. They've never experienced House of the Dead.
No, they haven't.
That was like episode 7 or 8, wasn't it? That was ridiculous.
Actually, House of the Dead was episode 43 by the looks of it, or 42.
Was it?
Yeah, around about that.
I thought we sat in a pub with Keith Butler talking about that one. Anyway,
It was in the early days, man. It was the
very early days. It was pre Jim. I would say it was like AD and BC. I would say it was before Jim, but unfortunately that means it's BJ, and I don't think we want to have the Black Dog BJ era.
Move on swiftly.
I think
The period after... No, hang on. No, that doesn't work. Don't worry. Let me back away from that.
yeah, steady. I don't know. I'm trying to
God, I'm
think.
looking through the list now. There's RoboCop 3. There's the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh God, RoboCop 3 was terrible. I mean, that was genuinely terrible. That was probably the worst one for the reason of it was. That was bad because you were expecting so much more. I think that's the difference. If you get something like a Birdemic and it's terrible, you're kind of halfway towards thinking, well, it's not going to be good. Yeah. I think the problem is when you get to things like RoboCop 3, you just think, Frank Miller, what the fuck were you thinking? And that to me, that was one of the worst films I've watched.
Highlander 2.
Oh God, that was fucking awful and all.
Yep.
I mean, big budget movies. I've got to go with the one that we reviewed. The big budget movie, has got to be fucking Fifth Element. That film is like watching fucking glass being slowly driven into one of my ocular orbs, in my eyes. I just can't with the Fifth Element at all.
The Happening?
The Happening was fucking awful, but but that was hilariously awful. That was early days of Twitter. Awful that was.
So
when
you're an
when
ecological event. How's your mother doing? Say hello to your mother for me.
No, it was the hilarious moment of a guy sitting in a car, and then the wind just blew, and then you just see his car just trundle slowly into a fence and explode behind Mark Wahlberg, who just looks like he's trying to work out in his head calculus. That was hilarious.
Him just looking at, giving like the side eye to plants as well. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Well, you know,
Are you gonna
can't
attack
trust
me?
them. Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
see, you're a plant. How's that doing for you? Say hello to your mother for me.
how's it? How's that bush? How's the bush?
Hey, you're a dog. How's that, man? Say hello to your mother for me.
Yeah. As far as films that are bad that I don't mind watching again, for me
Split
that
second.
get fucked, get right fucked.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Well, I have a soft spot for this Battle Beyond the Stars, but that's a different. And Valkyrie.
Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
No, I like that makes me laugh. I will watch a terrible film if it makes me laugh. Like Street Fighter. Street Fighter the movie was absolutely
course.
fucking awful, but I would laugh my ass off watching it. And I've done it a couple of times now. Because it's turned up on like Channel 4 at like 3:00 in the poxy morning, and there you are with, you know, Raul Julia stomping around with his ear sticking out, trying to keep his hat up, going, "This is worth 500 bison bucks, and, you know, and I'm going to have a food court over here." I mean, it's just like brilliant. It's so bad, it's awfully brilliant. I love it.
You know what? There's a few on this list that I probably wouldn't never watch again.
Go
One
on.
of the films I hated, and I know a lot of people liked it, but I just can't stand its cynicism,
Yeah,
and that's AI. I don't really want to
Yep.
watch that film ever again. Fuck
That's
that
fair.
shit. Fucking horrible movie, that. Just horrible, horrible, horrible. Yes, let's create something that's going to fall in love with its owner and still be in love with its owner when the owner's dead 300 years. Yep, let's just do that, shall we? Let's have this thing wandering around, fucking moping around for a being that's not going to live as long as it will. Yep.
Yeah.
You the blue
Yep.
fairy?
Oh God, yes.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And the fucking, was it the Flesh Show as well, where they beat the shit out of robots? It is like, no, do you know what? I've got every sympathy for the robots in the Matrix now. That's it.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And then and what was the other one like that? Which we watched not too long before that. Oh fuck! When we had to do Alien versus Predator Requiem, mean-spirited,
God, that's awful.
fucking awful film.
Yeah.
And then there was what was the other one? Transformers 2. With the
Just
with
hate
the
those films.
with the Transformers. The Transformer was climbing up the was it the pyramids, and it's got two testicles hanging down above John Turturro's head.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just
And
like,
the racist twin Transformers.
oh yeah, that's it. And the
Yeah.
and the one that tries to seduce old Sheepy LaBeef, and then suddenly has a robot tail coming out of her ass
Oh,
while she's
Jesus.
so we can have an upskirt shot.
Oh yeah, that was in the college bit, wasn't it? Where
Yeah.
the mum and dad got stoned.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, you know what? I think bigger budget movies that are terrible are worse than low budget movies that are terrible. At least with low budget, you can see that they fail because they just didn't have the talent or the money behind them to do anything with it. Big budget movies that fuck up, like Transformers, like the Alien versus Predator movies, especially number 2, and like fucking Fifth Element, which is just a perfume ad with a whiny twat in the middle of it. All of those things, those are bigger crimes. RoboCop 3 is a bigger crime than watching Birdemic, in my eyes, because there's just no reason for them to be that fucking awful. That you got millions of dollars, you throw it at everyone, and you go, make me a movie. You'd think you'd get something with at least bare level competence, as opposed to something that makes you want to shit out your own eyes because it's
Do you
just
know what?
terrible.
where the Fifth Element is concerned, yes, the story is not exactly brilliant. However, aesthetically, I kind of like it.
What, the fifth elephant?
The Fifth Elephant, yes. I do like certain things in it, the looks of certain things.
I love the credits, the end ones.
Yes, I
especially.
know you do.
Mm.
But I did enjoy the scene with the opera singer doing the actual vocal work on that. It's just, people have tried to replicate that. Very few have managed to achieve it.
And do you know what?
Yep.
I hate that fucking film so much. So much. The secret ingredient is love. Fuck off.
What is this thing you humans call kissing?
Yeah. What was it? Fucking Lee Evans going in a fucking silly little sailor's uniform, like he's a kid from the 1950s. I mean, it's just like, oh, do me a favor. Seriously, the whole thing looked like a fucking perfume ad from Christmas Day. It's just like, oh, get Ben. No. Fucking Fifth Elephant can go fucking do it itself. I hate that movie so much.
Come on, Dallas.
It's like you could just write a script by getting one of those little cow tippy fucking pots. Fucking speed it up through audition. And there you go. That's fucking 90% of Chris Tucker's performance. But it's okay. He's got a funny hairdo, and he goes and he makes people go all funny all over. He's on. Get fucking Ben. And by the way, here's a nickel. Buy yourself a sense of humour. Piss off. Anyway. Right. I think that answers those questions. If anybody else has any questions they want to ask us, by all means, drop them in on the Facebook group. Black Dog Asking for Trouble is pinned at the top. I will search by newest and we will go through them. If I haven't answered your question so far, ask it again and then and it'll bump to the top and we will answer it next week. Anyway, has anyone got anything else they'd like to add to that? Because I just kind of went off on one. I kind of had acid flashbacks to episode 150.
I know it's not quite answering that question, but if I don't say it now, then I will forget it. So the one that shocked me the most when rewatching the movies, and this was BJ.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
Is it Clash of the Titans? Watching that.
Oh God!
Which one?
Because we
the,
did two.
The original.
Oh God! Yeah,
like
right.
early doors episodes.
Yeah,
Harry
And-
Hamlin. Yeah.
I remember watching it and going, "Oh my God, this is awful." And there's a bit where someone has like a hose pipe and squirts water, and it's supposed to be looking like this building is filling up with water.
No,
But it's just a fireman off to the side just squirting his hose. You're like, oh, this is
Was in a
awful.
euphemism.
But growing up as a kid, that was one of my favourites.
Yeah, that was. And Bubo the fucking owl, which was
Yeah.
supposed to be like Ray Harryhausen's finest achievement, and yet it looked like someone said, make R2-D2, but more annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a real shocker for me, that was.
That was a bit of a shocker. That was, yeah. I think that there's been a couple like that where we kind of expected them to be good and didn't. I think the first ever episode we did, which was Tron or Batman, and I was like, oh, good Lord. Have we made a terrible mistake here? But
Yeah.
anyway, right. Well, we'll maybe revisit some of those older ones as the years go on. Last thing before we go any further, we've got some feedback for last week's episode, which was synchronic. And we got some message from Martin Thompson, who wanted to tell us that he sympathised with your adventures on the DLR, Elton.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. He was trying to make a similar journey on the way home on a Sunday, which could have gone a lot better. Anyway, on to Synchronic. I really like this. It took a while to get going, but I thought it was an interesting method of time travel, especially as where you were standing, depending on the time zone you ended up in. I know that what Jim meant about feeling a bit Hollywood, as the missing girl plot felt bolted onto a weird little indie movie, but I also felt it grounded it a bit. They had a good concept, but you needed something else to do apart from explore. Otherwise, where would you go? Dwindling supplies of the drug also helped keep it moving, provided some peril. Plus, it meant there was a nice final end to it. I genuinely felt a little tense at the end, hoping that Stephen would make it back to the Rock, which, of course, he didn't. Spoilers. Thank you for that, Martin. And we also had Odile Thomas, who said, a quick one from me about the film. I think the film would have been more interesting with some forward time travel rather than just into the past time travel, as it would have been more in keeping with the idea of the film's time travel concept. What do you think?
I hadn't even thought about that when I was watching it, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of got the sense that you could only go backwards because it's a quantum leap type thing. It's like your lived experiences in your pineal gland and everything that was unlocking, wasn't it? Or was I misunderstanding that?
So theoretically, you could have ended up in the some point in the future.
I mean, could, I guess. But I took the thought to be that it was your pineal gland because it was your kind of your monkey brain effectively going evolutionarily going backwards. But because that was the thing that was being activated, wasn't it? So it's that quantum leap thing. If you can't go forward, you can only go backwards in your own timeline. So you can only go back from the age you are now to when you were born, and that's the time span you can travel within. But in the case of Synchronic, it's just anything back to the evolution of your pineal gland. I mean, I don't know.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's a good theory.
Yeah, as good as any.
I think with the future, it potentially make it more confusing.
Yeah, and then it becomes
which I'd be up for, but maybe not a general audience.
Yeah.
But also, when you're doing the future, you get into that you're having to predict the future, which you're onto dicey ground there. You're always backing a loser.
Yeah,
unless you've got some very, very good predictions.
yeah. There's always that whole thing also of the shorthand. Because when you go back in time, you only need to put a couple of people in loincloths or some, hillbilly hats and a bit of bayou smoke and, and give them a shotgun. And you're like, oh, we're in a different time. Or, someone with a spear, you're like in a different time. Or conquistador's outfit. If you have to sort of suddenly start going, oh, look, we've got flying cars and flying planets and spaceships and rockets taking off and all that kind of thing. Suddenly you spend longer explaining where you are than the story, if you know what I mean. So I like the idea of traveling forward. I always do. But it's just, to me, that always feels like you're opening up a Pandora's box of explanations that need to happen. If you go back in time and you see a dinosaur or a caveman, it's like one shot, done. There you go. Whereas if you go into the future, it's like someone walks past with a tiny little thing sticking in their ear and a robot floating past. And, you have to start adding layers of extra little details that might take a second or two to sort of, I don't know, figure out mentally in your head. Have you gone a year into the future, 20 years into the future, 100 years, 1,000 years, heat death of the universe? I mean, where do you go? I suppose, and then that suddenly opens up a kind of, how can you tell the difference between different eras in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Darren, you going to say something?
No. Sorry, I was just coughing.
Okay, sorry. Don't. God damn it, I was going to give you the floor. Yeah, no, but I like the idea of going in the future, but it's just I think it would slow the film down. Just because of what it'd have the hoops it would narratively have to leap through. But anyway, thank you, Martin, and thank you, Odile, for those feedbacks. And if you out there would like to send any feedbacks in, then by all means do so by going on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast, sending us an email, which is feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or, as I said before, hit me up on Blue Sky, cartoonbeardy.bsky.social. Just drop a message in the old DMs, madam. Right. We'll leave it there. We'll draw a veil over the first hour and fucking 14 minutes of this podcast, which is only supposed to be first 20 minutes. And then we will get on to the movie Enemy.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Right, so Enemy is a 2013 surrealist psychological thriller film directed by Denis Villeneuve, who would later go on to make things like Dune 2, and Blade Runner sequels, and what was the other one we watched not too long ago?
Prisoners,
that's the one. Produced by M.A. Farina and Niv Feichman, and written by Javier Goulion. I'm being murdered by these fucking these phrases, these names. It was loosely adapted from Jose Saramango's 2002 novel, The Double. The film stars Jake Gyllenhaal in the dual role as two men who are physically identical but different in personality. The film also stars Melanie Laurent, who we saw in Inglourious Bastards as the cinema owner, and Sarah Gadon, and Isabella Rossellini as the mother. It was released in it was released all over 2014, depending on your territory, and it had, we have no idea how much it cost to make, but we do have a box office. How much do you think it made at the box office, Darren? Throw you under the bus first.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. A weekend away with your girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Jim?
I reckon it made 2 million warm glow orange light bulbs.
Nice. Yep. Elton?
I'm not too sure, but I have rented a hotel room for us.
Nice. Well, actually, you're all wrong. What it actually made was a copy of Yellow by Coldplay.
Look at the stars.
Yeah, because it's all yellow.
It's all
Yellow. Anyway, no, actually, it made $3.5 million. Right. No spoilers, but let's just go around the table on the early doors and find out what everyone thought. I'll go last because it was my film. So we'll start with let's start with one of the not rabbit holers, because there's two groups in this review group. There's the rabbit holers and the non-rabbit holers, and we'll go to the first non-rabbit holer, which is you, Elton. Mm-hmm. What did you think? No spoilers of Enemy.
I really enjoyed it, actually.
Okie dokie.
I really liked this. It kept me thinking all the way through. I was really attached to it. I was watching it all the way through, didn't check any phones or anything like that. Just had a thoroughly good time for an hour and a half. I thought it was really, really good.
Cool. And over to rabbit holer number 1, Jim.
I enjoyed it, I think. But I have questions, which there may or may not be answers to. I'm not entirely convinced there are proper answers, which is kind of like, you were good up to a point, but I feel a bit shortchanged the more I think about it. That The ducks are not in a row. Repeat, the ducks are not in the row. And the spiders are what they seem.
Okay, cool. And over to non-rabbit holer number 2, Darren.
It was okay. It was like somebody had edited a film. They'd taken out, they'd got the first bit of the film, took out the centre part of that movie and replaced it with another one. It was the equivalent of Rowley from the Far Show. Ooh, plastic spoons, yes, yes, and then a bunch of grapes. That's basically that's how I saw it, because it's like it's as if somebody got bored by the end of it and just went, I'll tell you what, write a scene with this in it. That'll keep them guessing.
Yes,
and just end it that way, because I've got to get a fucking bus home. Can you hurry up?
That final scene, I'm sure, will come up in the discussion later on.
I really hope so, because I don't feel, if I have to go looking through websites to find out what a film means, and it hasn't done its job.
Very true. That's another thing to discuss, I think, in the next bit.
Yeah.
Cool. For me, I kind of felt nonplussed by it. I knew I was going to get something that was visually interesting, and I kind of sat there watching it all the way through, and I was never bored. I was curious and kind of trying to fathom what it was all meaning. I knew it was more of a film about meaning than it was about us telling a straightforward story, just simply by the way it was starting to be shot and the way things were happening and the way it was doing some weird things with certain framing. And I thought, okay, this isn't a film about what you think it's about. And once I got to that sort of point, I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to have to sit there and see if I can get the meaning out of it. If I can't, I'm just going to spend the next fucking 6 hours trawling through various thoughts and feelings of various people online, because I haven't got a clue. And after that, it's exactly what I did. So I'm the second rabbit holer, in case anyone hasn't figured that out. And after finding out what I think I found out, I appreciate it, but I don't like it. I kind of sit there going, this is interesting. I'm glad this exists. I'm glad this isn't like a straight run-of-the-mill film, but I'm also not in a rush to ever see this again. If that makes sense. So it's kind of like, isn't this cool? Isn't it? Aren't we glad that they're making films like this, as well as big fuck off Marvel films and silly John Wicks and all this kind of stuff? You get ones like this, which are weird and strange and make you think and don't give you easy answers. And it's like, isn't it great they exist? Even if you don't like them, isn't it great that they exist? So I'm like, that's where I am with it. I'm really glad it exists. I'm glad it is what it is, but it made my head hurt. and by the end of it, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to look this shit up. So, and I did, and I came away from it going, I understand now, and I appreciate it, but still not gonna watch it again. So that's where I am. So it's kind of a weird halfway house. So that's where our current feelings are. All of us, four of us are. So I would suggest, if anyone's interested in watching this film, and it really is a film that will make you go, oh, what am I? Oh, I want to. Why is nobody telling me anything? Then I would suggest you stop listening now, because we are going to spoil the fuck out of this, and even spoiling the fuck out of it may actually cause more confusion than it solves. So, yeah, as ever, we're going into the spoiler zone, but if you are considering watching this film, do yourself a favour, watch it, don't listen to us, and come back afterwards, because you may have a completely different tinfoil hat to us. Mine, I think, is full Baco foil tower on the top of my head, looking like looking like the Eiffel Tower. But we'll see. We'll see. So let's roll some random buttons until we get to the other side of the spoiler zone.
Shut up, Wesley.
Oh, I've pressed the wrong button.
Shut up, Wesley.
Okay, that'll do. Fuck it, here's another one.
Danger.
There you go.
The emergency destruct system is now activated. The ship will detonate in T-minus 10 minutes.
If you think we're going to still be here
Shut up, Wesley.
in 10 minutes, I think you're very much mistaken. Okay. So, non-rabbit holers, we'll come to you first, I think. What did you think it was about? Darren, do you want to go for it?
I think it was a remake of that Twilight Zone episode starring Bruce Willis called Saturday. That's basically it. But not the same type of story. I don't know what it was about. It was just about a bloke who coincidentally stumbles across a film that suggested that he watch and finds someone, at least I think he did that. I don't know. So I'm just watching this thing. All of a sudden he's going crazy looking at stuff. I'm thinking, what's he looking for? And then apparently there's a bloke who looks like him.
Okay.
And then, you know, you've got it. It follows this other half of him trying to, you know, use this connection for nefarious means. And then spider, and that's it. So I think we've got we've now got a replacement for the phrase baby.
Oh, right.
We're just going to say spider, and that's it.
Right.
If you want to get out of an argument, just do that. All right. You want to end something?
Okay.
Just say spider.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck it was about, mate. I've really got no real input into this. It was
okay.
I mean, I could tell you what I plainly saw on screen. Man finds his doppelganger. Doppelganger takes his girlfriend away, goes off without telling her that he's actually the doppelganger, and then they die on the way back. I'm not sure if she deserved it, but, you know, he was definitely asking for trouble all the way through.
Okay. Cool. What about you, Elton? What do you think it meant?
I think it's all about obsession.
Okay.
Not the perfume.
The smell of it.
Yes.
Because you had the guy magically finding, or being told to watch this movie, and then magically seeing this guy that looks like him and having an obsession with that as to what does that mean? What is that? Diving into it, getting an obsession for this other person. And then when he pulls out of it, then the other guy gets an obsession with him, and then it's an obsession with the other halves as well. Yeah. I think that is somewhat of the story, and also what you could have, what you have, and what you have relinquished.
Right. Okay.
But it's a flipping confusing movie.
Okay, well, for the audience, before we go to the rabbit holers, Jim, for the people who are listening and don't care about it being spoiled, the film does feature basically Jake Gyllenhaal, one as an actor living a life with a pregnant wife, and then there's Jake Gyllenhaal, the nebbish, neurotic, anxiety-ridden history teacher who's living with Melanie Laurent, who just comes in. They basically make love, and then she always just leaves, just randomly leaves. And then occasionally there's a symbol of a spider, be it a spider woman walking naked across the ceiling, a spider at the end, which is in a bathroom, and then basically and a humongous, colossal, 800-foot high monstrous spider walking over Ontario or Toronto, wherever it is. But it's definitely Canada somewhere. And yeah, that's it. That's the key. That's the whole thing. So we won't go too much into the story there, but that's the basics of it. Mm-hmm. If anybody else wants to add any more details in, but I think it's best to just get the plot in there, because if we don't, then we start talking, it sounds like we're talking nonsense. So Jim, as representative of the rabbit holers, what did you think it was about?
I'm not sure. I mean, I have a feeling it's about identity, and I think the clues in the title, "Enemy," is about a man at war with himself. Whether he actually has a doppelganger or whether it's all in his head, I'm not sure. I'm hoping tonight's discussion might shed some light on that from the bits in the rabbit hole I've encountered, some of which were compelling, some of which I think might have been bollocks. But certainly it seems to be a film about, how the other half live.
Yep.
And it kind of the mental trap of thinking the grass is always greener on the other side. And this kind of idea that, there's another possible you who's having a better life and having a better time of it. And it's kind of probably ultimate proof of the old hippie mantra that says, no matter how far you run, you're always in the same place.
Oh, deep, man.
Yeah.
To quote Hitchhiker's Guide to the
You can run all around the world, but you can't escape yourself.
Yeah. To quote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you should send that into the Reader's Digest. They got Patreon people who like you. Yeah. No, that's interesting, that is. Cool. Okay. Do you want my rabbit holing pit? Because I watched this film last night, and I was just like, I really don't know what any of this means. So then I started doing a bit of digging, and I thought, okay. And then there was a whole thing about, what it could represent, what it must represent, what it does represent, what it doesn't represent. But then what it did was there was a link to a thing that said the psychological significance of spiders. Anyone with arachnophobia, I really apologize for this, because it's just going to get worse. But here we go. Freud suggests that spiders symbolize mother figures, the complexities of a mother-child relationship, whereas Carl Jung took a different approach, seeing spiders as indicative of your alter ego, your shadow self, repressed aspects of your personality, things that you didn't want to get out. Yeah?
So Freud is obsessed with his mother anyway, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one thing or your mother. So, now, the other thing that happens right at the very beginning is we see Jake Gyllenhaal in some kind of random, weird Black Mirror sex club thing, where basically the finale is a naked lady with a tea tray that she opens up, and there's a tarantula on it that she then goes to step on. We don't see her stepping on it, but we do see her going to. And apparently, according to both of these guys, the killing of a spider represents release of pent-up emotions or the end of a relationship. Okay?
All right.
Okay. And large spiders symbolize large-scale issues. Right? So,
can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
How the fuck are you supposed to spot this without reading up on it?
Well, yeah. I that's a discussion I think we should definitely have, because the fact that I had to look all this shit up, does really Well, I suppose in some ways it's good because what it's doing is it's assuming that you have this knowledge. It's not talking down to the audience. However, how many people know this shit? I don't know.
Well, the thing is, I know a lot about symbolism, and what you just said there is maybe 2% of possible spider symbolism.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
However, it does fit the film.
Oh, it does fit the film, but it is kind of... Was the Loch Ness Monster Jack the Ripper? Bullshit or not?
Yeah.
But, I think the spider imagery in the film is weird, but I personally, my gut feeling is there isn't really enough of it to properly coalesce,
Right?
To give a viewer a clue as to what it is. I mean, I read kind of, if you look at the broken glass of the car, it's in the shape of a spider's web.
Yeah,
and I think all broken glass looks like that, mate. That's not symbolism. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But then it does focus on it, though. That's the thing.
Oh, it focuses on the car, though. But I think it's one of those things. It doesn't add up because tarantulas don't spin webs. They're not a web spinning species. You know what I mean? It's all a bit. That's a muddle. That's get it right or fuck off. If you're going to have a chain of symbolism in the movie, it has to be consistent.
Yeah.
If it's inconsistent, it doesn't work.
No.
But I sort of think kind of it was clear after you get the spider-headed woman, then the giant spider, but then you got nothing until big spider right at the end.
Well,
okay.
Well, on that bit, I mean this is the rabbit hole stuff. So this isn't me trying to be clever. This is me just going, okay, someone tell me the fucking answer now. So the theory which made the most sense to me. And again, like I say, we'll get to Darren's bit about how much of this shit do you actually have to find out first. But the theory that made the most sense to me is that it's actually both Jakes are the same Jake, right? And essentially what's happening is he's having a psychotic break. That's the general gist of it. He is a history teacher. Yeah, so we got History Jake, and then we got Actor Jake. And essentially, History Jake is the real Jake. But when he's with his mother, later on in the film, and funny enough, she turns up just before the big spider does. But anyway, she says, this is the same as, you got to put this, you got to, where's that place that you're living? It's bloody awful. And by the way, this is much the same as you getting obsessed about being an actor. So that's the first thing. And so she just says, stop being silly. Don't do that. You've got a good job. You're respected, and all that sort of thing. When we go back to Actor Jake's got the wife with the baby, and he's the one who went to the strange sex club. Right? And when History Jake, they do that swap-a-roo at the end. When History Jake turns up at the house and pretends to be Actor Jake, his wife asks him, "How was school today?"
Yes.
So they're both really the same person playing out fantasies in their head.
See, this is where I get muddled on it because I came across the split theory and I thought, I think the same guy, okay. And I sort of hit on that myself, but the things that is like inconsistency, so I can't work out which one's the real one.
Well,
because at first I thought it was History Jake, but History Jake lives like in an apartment with fuck all in it.
No. You see, the fuck all in it History Jake place is actually his shag pad for the affair that he's having. Because the first thing that happens is when he's on the phone.
Oh, right.
So when he apparently calls himself up, what's the first thing that Actor Jake, when you first see Actor Jake and he walks around and he talks to his wife for the first time in the film, she turns around and she goes, "Was that her?" Are you seeing her again? And he goes, no, it was just a guy. It was just a guy. And we hadn't seen actor Jake up until that point. And so the theory, the prevailing theory, which I agree with, is that actor Jake's house and actor Jake's look is, basically real. But History Jake is the one inhabiting it. But History Jake does have a little shag pad, which is shit, for him and Melanie Laurent to just get it on, because that's why she just turns up and then fucks off at the end every time. She just turns up, they shag, fuck off. And the wife with the baby is, she even says when he comes back, History Jake comes back and they make love, and you think, oh God, they've made some sort of weird mistake. She's shagging him and she shouldn't. She says, it's good to have you back. And so I think he's not been living there for quite a while. And so he's been going to the sex clubs and he's been getting it on with Melanie Laurent and whatever. And it's been at least 6 weeks. Is it 6 weeks or 6 months? 6 weeks. 6 weeks, because it was the envelope. The actor's envelope.
Mm-hmm.
That's 6 weeks. Then when they're in the lift and the lift guy goes, oh, I haven't been sent a key and it's been 6 weeks. And then or is it 6 months? Something like that. I know it's just a date that follows along all the way through, because then when he looks at the girl, when he looks at his wife with the baby, he goes, how many months along? And she goes 6 months. And it's like, oh, that's nice. And I know there was a relationship between the 6 months, and the 6 months. And the wife going, I don't know what's going on. And she's clearly worried by him being obsessed by this other guy, who's apparently a totally different guy. It's like she knows what's going on. She actually knows. And in both cases, History Jake and actor Jake are getting calls from their mother that they won't answer. So the prevailing theory, and it's the one I'm kind of sticking to, is that the two characters are the same character, having a psychotic break, playing fantasies out through each other. So History Jake wants to be actor Jake, or he tried to be an actor, was in a film, it was shit, didn't get any more callbacks, end of story. And as the mother said, you've now got a nice, respectable job. You've put that actor shit out of your head. Once she does that, once the mum says that, and we only see her once she does that, that's when we get the shot of the massive fuck off great spider over Toronto or Ontario or wherever.
Right.
And that shot, that spider is actually the sculpture called Mother Spider, which is in the same city. There's actually a sculpture called the Mother Spider. And so, hold on, I'll find out where it was. It was Ontario, I think. Mother Spider sculpture.
There is something that takes place in the film that kind of backs up this theory that you've got. It's timing, right? That's what it is. So his girlfriend, the wife, who's pregnant, goes out to the college.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
She
sits there waiting for him out, and she sees him come out. Right. She's staring at him and that, and he talks to her, and then
Ottawa,
he departs. He departs. Right. And as he's walking away, she pulls out her phone and starts ringing the other one. Right. And did you notice when the other one picked up?
Just after he went out of shot.
Yeah.
The second he goes out of shot, suddenly the phone is picked up.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. There's so many clues to that being the right answer. I don't know if it is the right answer. And like I say, I went down a lot of rabbit holes the other night, so I apologize if it all sounds like gibberish. By the way, It's Ottawa. That's where the mother. That's where the place is. That's where the film's set, and that's where the mother spider, which is called Maman, a bronze stainless steel marble sculpture by Louis Bourgeois. It depicts a spider measuring 30 feet high and 33 feet wide.
I bet the residents love that.
I bet I bet there's not many arachnophobes around that area. Yeah. So yes, but that's the spider that you see in the film.
If I lived in that city, I'd make a big bathtub sculpture.
Yeah. So
not just have like a sculpture down the road of a bit of paper and a big glass tumbler.
Yeah, big glass tumbler over the top of it, or a plug hole. Yeah, or a pitch, or a little stand that says "Incy Wincy" and then a massive drain pipe right above it.
Yeah, drain pipe seller.
Yeah. So that's the theory, that they're both the same character. The spiders represent women, and and psychologically their motherhood and entrapment. And so what happens is, when finally History Jake comes back to the house to meet his pregnant wife, it's like he's finally returned home, and actor Jake dies in a imaginary car crash, because you never find out who's in that car crash. You just hear it on the radio. In an imaginary car crash with his abandoned lover, and he's fine. He's back to normal. He's okay until he opens up the letter and finds the key to the sex club. As soon as he finds the key to the sex club, you see him sort of go, "Oh," and the old tingle comes back, and his infidelity thing comes back, and suddenly he goes back into the room. He sees instead of seeing his wife, he sees a huge spider, a symbol of entrapment and motherhood, all rolled into one, and it's just like, oh, he's gone back to his psychotic break again.
Ah, okay.
Right. There you go.
I'm happy with that.
My name's Lee Metcalf. Thank you very much. This was my TED Talk. Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Because I was enjoying the switching of the two characters, and at some points you weren't too sure exactly what ones you were following, because the teacher was filmed in a lot of yellow, shall we say, and the actor, there was a lot less yellow, and I think that was reduced as the film went on, as to confuse you as to which one you were really watching.
Yeah,
it's really subtle.
Yeah,
but it's really, really good. And there is that moment where he sat with his mum, chatting with her, and she mentions it, and you're like, okay, well, this is that one there. And then she said about the acting, and you're like, oh, okay. So is that the same person? And I was like, okay, kind of getting this, but I'm not too sure if I am down the right path or not. But what I was just enjoying the tit for tat, and I don't know, the escapism of it all. Really, I just really enjoyed this. I think I enjoyed it more than I was expecting to.
Cool. Well, that's really cool. So, does the thing I say make more sense or less?
I'm happy with that version of it. Yes, I think if I'd watched it a couple of times, and I might have come to that conclusion. I've seen many other films like this before, and they always fool me. They always. I never go in there going, oh, yeah, this is that version. I won't say any other films, but this is that. It's just a different skin. But I think I always take a film on its face value, and always try to view it as its own separate entity instead of nabbing from other films.
Yeah.
Maybe that's to my detriment because I always give it the benefit of the doubt, and then when it comes to it, it's just it's just this. It's like okay, yeah, I got fooled again. Never mind. But I'm happy with that. I like what you guys, because I was watching him on the bench with the pregnant woman, and yeah, I noticed him go around the corner and she was on the phone, and it took him a while to answer, and he's like, yeah, there's something there, isn't there? Because that's an obvious key. He's out of sight and then picks up. Yeah, it's really, truly obvious. But I think I give it the benefit of the doubt sometimes and try not to be tripped up by that. But obviously, never mind. Here I am, wiping down the dust off my face again.
No, not at all. I mean, it's not a film. I mean, I hasten to add that this is not my theory. This is a theory after I've gone to about 5 or 10 websites reading different versions of it, of the theory, and different aspects that I kind of disregard and say, yeah, that makes sense. No, that's bollocks. So, because this is an amalgam of just internet rabbit holing that's coming out of my mouth. It's not me. I literally sat there for the first time round going, well, are they the same person or not?
The moment I thought they were was when he showed his hands to each other. They did that Joey Tribbiani thing of, you're my hand twin. And, just holding the hands out. And you're like, well, yeah, they're the same.
Yeah.
And that is your answer there.
Yeah.
But I drifted away from that as well.
Yeah. Well, it was trying its hardest to throw you by throwing other things into the mix, like spiders and mothers and random calls and stalker Jake and all that kind of thing. But anyway,
just out of interest, Elton, what was your reaction to that final shot?
I liked it. I think my reaction actually was, "Oh," and then I mulled on it a little bit. But normally, a film like this makes me think about it for a day or so. I really haven't thought about it today at all. I think I just watched it, got it, but didn't get it as well. But I was quite happy with that. I think what I saw, I was really happy with.
Okay.
But yeah, the reaction to it was just, oh. But what it meant to me, because in our little group, when you said, are we all recording today? I put in spaced, female of the species.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that maybe the pregnant woman was, once again, the grass is greener. You could have had this kind of life and wanted someone not so rock and roll and in a high authority job of an actor, and really just wanted the simple life with a guy who just went to work, teaches, comes home and is happy. And try to reel him in. There are a lot of connections with the spiders, though. See, there's a moment where the pregnant lady is on the bed, and it's almost as if, like, come into my web. But also, the other girlfriend is a bit like a fly trying to beat off a... Sorry, not like that.
Phrasing.
Phrasing. Trying to get away from a spider attacking it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. As Jim rightly pointed out, the spider symbolism could be taken any way that you see fit, and it'll fit any number of different fucking, interpretations. I mean, for me, I went with the one where it's like, oh, it's motherhood, it's entrapment, it's alter egos and shadows.
I think it might be the controlling aspect of the girlfriend. She wants to control him but can't.
Which one? The one
the pregnant girlfriend.
That's the wife.
So so she is the real girlfriend, isn't she?
Yeah, she's the one who basically is represented by the big spider at the end, because it's to him it's commitment and entrapment. If you follow my cold theory,
and he wants to break away from that. He
Which
can't
he doesn't.
handle that.
which he doesn't initially, because he's fine until he sees the key that says, "Oh, by the way, you're back in the sex club with the kinky ladies and the spiders." And then it's like, "Oh, well, hang on," and then he's back to square one. At which point, she immediately goes silent and turns into a bloody great spider.
Bites his head off.
Well, no, because she actually is scared of him. The spider is scared of him.
Oh, okay.
Did you not see that? As soon as she opens the door, the thing backs up into a corner. It gets away. It doesn't attack him.
I saw it back. I thought it was getting ready to pounce.
No. Watch it again. You see it actually backs itself into a corner and squeals.
Okay.
And there's a lot of kind of implications that she's scared of him while he's kind of going through some kind of psychotic break.
Okay. So it's not the controlling nature of her, it's more her
representing the end of his life that he doesn't want to let go. Yeah. He wants to be a young free gadabout, being the big I am and shagging whatever comes his way.
Yeah.
But he's got this pregnant wife and a life that his mum approves of that he clearly doesn't want to be. He feels trapped by it.
Yeah.
Now, I will, Darren, you've been a bit quiet, but I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
You've heard this. Do you think it's bollocks, or do you think, or are you still in the why the fuck do I have to read like 65 pages to learn this shit?
Again, why do I have to read 65,000 pages to learn this shit? There's a lot there, and it's just like, so you didn't write half the film then? Can I not? Is there a problem with like making me understand this and maybe possibly getting it, by watching what goes on screen? Does that make me? I mean, am I some kind of on the lower on the intelligence scale because I couldn't be bothered to go to a fucking? Well, yeah. I mean, there is that, but it's I don't know. It's just. You had to read all of that. That makes this like about a 6-hour film now, because you've probably spent 3 hours looking this shit up.
Well,
and it's like, well, is there not another way you could have represented this that might have been? Oh, I'll get this. It's not just about a bloke whose life's been taken over by a double. It's about the existential crisis of the ordinary working man and his place in the universe. And What does he do about making that better? How does he do it? Does he actually make an effort himself, or does he retreat inside a fantasy world, just to patch this over and just to make it bearable?
Okay.
But I've got that from, kind of got that from listening to you, but you had to, again, it's, do you remember some time ago, right? We were talking about, fiction that span off from popular TV shows like Babylon 5 and stuff like this. Yeah, and you said, and this is words that I've gone by as well. Looking at this, if it's not on screen, it didn't happen.
That was Battlestar Galactica. That was
but
when they kept doing all the.
It's also things like Babylon 5 where they had a load of spin-off books, and it's like, why have I got to read a whole set of books to understand what this is about? Yeah. Why have I got to listen to a 6-hour podcast to understand why this scene was framed the way it was?
Darren, you probably wondered why I've got this red arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Force Awakens. Yeah.
It's like what? No, if I'm not going to get the full enjoyment out of this unless I do, I've got homework. But what am I? Am I in college? Is this it? Have I gone back to school and I don't know about it? Why have I got to do all of this research to find this out?
Right.
So to me, it's like they've put it out there, and it's like, right, okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to let people figure this out for themselves. I'm not even going to bother fucking putting anything in this movie. I've done a bunch of images, tied them together, and I'll finish it with a big fucking spider. You know.
But okay,
do you know what? Do you know what? It's like having a film about gardening, right? And a bloke walks into a room with a TARDIS in it, and that's it. Credits roll. How does that fit into the? What? It's so disjointed. It's just like, okay.
But Villeneuve or however you want to pronounce it, I say Villeneuve. He hasn't created loads more media to go along with this, has he?
No.
So he has created his thing, and that is his thing. His movie is his thing. If you understand it, you understand it. If you don't understand it, you don't understand it. If you want to interpret it a certain way, that is the way that he's left it.
But
so that is his little thing, okay?
Yeah, that's my problem with it, right? It's not... If it was really that important to understand this, because look, you've had to do research to fully understand this, right? So this is the problem, okay? If it's important to know this by looking at a fucking essay, why hasn't he put anything out there? If this isn't just like, I'm just going to tie this bunch of this, I've got a really kind of basic story here. I'll do this thing at the beginning. Sex club, main story, spider in bathroom. Let's see what they do with that. Because actually, this is all the Emperor's new clothing. That's basically what this is. And you'll see what you want to see in it. When he hasn't written it, in a way, it's kind of like lazy when you think about it.
No, I think it's all there.
You think it's all there?
Having this discussion,
you had to listen. You had to listen to Lee telling you about it, though. That's the thing.
No, but
you didn't get it from watching the film, did you? You got it from what Lee said.
No, I like I said before, if I'd watched this a couple more times, I think I would be there. Okay, I'm going to give it away, like Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get it. You might not get it first time, but you get there. And I think you get there because you watch it, you interpret it, you understand it, you mull it over a little bit, and then you're there. And I think with this, if you look at the spider at the very beginning, downtrodden, that's the girlfriend. That's the wife, sorry.
I didn't make any of those legs. I've got to say, it's like
Fight Club or Shutter Island. You get a point of a reveal.
Yeah, I got that. I got
this. You get a cryptic image, and this is my sort of issue with it. Is you don't get a thing because I was completely on board with this film until it just threw a spider at me at the end and fucked off, and I was like, oh, hang on. Come back.
And there's the phrase.
You're not done, boyo. You're not done, boyo.
You come back here. Yeah, that's it.
No, I don't mind films being ambiguous. I don't mind. I like a film that rewards a second view. But with this, I felt it was just kind of like, oh, well, come on.
I wouldn't have got that on a second view. After the stuff you talked about, Lee, I wouldn't have got that on a second view. Probably not a third or a fourth either. This is like, oh, okay, so this thing represents this, and that's the symbolism of that, is it? Okay.
Well, like I say, thank you to the people of Reddit/r/movies and Reddit/r/in-depth. Because without those two, I wouldn't have got anywhere. But yeah,
I'm just wondering if it started off with one person saying one bit and then another person saying another bit, so on and so on, and then somebody's come along, seen all that, pulled those in, and then thought of another extra bit themselves. So it's a bit like the whole fucking monkeys, typewriters, and Shakespeare, right? Okay, you get enough of them together in a room. After a while, they're going to actually, create a work of fucking Shakespeare. That's what they say. You give enough monkeys, enough typewriters, and enough time, they will eventually produce like Romeo and Juliet or whatever. And I think this is the same thing. I don't know if does Villeneuve know what this is all about?
But,
yes.
Or was this just this is an interesting experiment? Let's just do this. I'll make some cash out of this.
He was in an interview in one of the things I deep dived on, which was on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was today. One of the things he was deep diving on was the fact that Villeneuve, when he was interviewed by the film by a bunch of press people for the film, on its release. And they said, "What's it about?" He said, "It's about my subconscious."
Exactly my fucking point.
No, but that's the whole point, isn't it? That's the whole point of the two characters. They're the same person.
It's about my subconscious. Did he elaborate on that?
Not as such as I saw, to be honest.
Do you know what? It's about bungee cord. What do you mean bungee cord? Figure it out. This is the whole Gwen Stefani thing, isn't it? So, Gwen, what the fuck is a hollaback girl? What do you think it is? And you can just fuck off of this interview right now. There you go. It's your bus fare home, love. Fuck off. This is it's just it's about my subconscious. Do you want to elaborate? Nah, you're good.
It's also worth mentioning this is the adaptation of a book called The Double.
Right. Okay.
I'm just a bit of
saying,
a loose adaptation. I did read the synopsis, but I mean, synopsis don't give you everything. But there's no spiders in The Double.
No.
And then The Double it seems to be, from what I read, it has its ducks more in a row. You begin to realise that actually they're one and the same. Whereas this, and I understand you don't want to be obvious. That's good, but I think all the bits are in there. But I don't think the ducks are in a row to give, most viewers that kind of like payoff at the end. It's more like, the fuck what? And that's an annoying reaction. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm still going for the phrase that pays being your phrase there, Jim, which is it just
the fuck what?
No. The film just threw a fucking spider. It threw a spider at me and fucked off.
But it's true. I could have happily sat for another half an hour, maybe another hour, in this mystery. I was quite happy with it, and I was thinking, are they the same person, or are they conjoined twins? And all this sort of stuff. But there's all sorts of things of kind of. I know he blurs the line between which one's which is kind of isn't playing fair almost. Because then you start going, well, is it different points in time? Because he has the photo, but it's ripped in half.
Yeah.
But it's not ripped in half, and it's kind of cool. Well, which is it here? What's going on? You know what I mean? If they're the same person, how does that work? I don't know. And there seems to be so much of it. You realize that you have no clue what was real, what wasn't, which one was which, and it's almost too blurry to be satisfying.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the ambiguity, but I think. As I say, I think it's everything is in there just for the two. They are one and the same, and the idea of being trapped and blah blah blah. I go along with that, but I don't think the ducks are in a row to give you a good payoff.
Yeah,
I think it's nearly there, but not quite. I mean, I think kind of leaving with that spider was a bit of a roll of the dice. I mean, I admire his balls. Don't get me wrong, because that's a hell of a way to end your film.
Yeah.
And the choice of closing song and closing credits, chef's kiss, very, very beautiful. But it's just kind of, I shouldn't have to watch this a second time and do research online just to piece together what I've seen. I'm with Darren on that. It's kind of, you got to throw us a bone here. I mean, so I like films that are ambiguous. I like films that reward a second viewing. But this is kind of like taking the piss. Like you're leaving bits out and making it impossible for me to solve. Not quite as egregious as Ben Wheatley and that In the Earth bollocks.
Oh God, yeah.
Or even Kill List suffers from the fact that you have no idea what the actual stakes are.
Yeah,
and he doesn't tell you nearly enough to give anything a proper meaning.
Yeah, just goes da 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 da. Thanks and good night.
That was horrible, wasn't it? Yeah. Why? Fuck off.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. It's kind of, I give him immense credit for the artistic challenge he was presenting, and I didn't dislike the film. I mean, I think it's a very interesting film, and there's so much I liked about it.
Yeah,
but it was one of those things that was kind of I had to do a lot of hard work putting it together. and you know, and then checking online, going, am I crazy, or
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it is kind of, you have to go back through the film with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, there's details like his mother rings at the start.
Yeah.
And the mother rings one, then you see the mother with another. And it's kind of, those details are so small.
Yes.
And you can say they're clues, but most people aren't going to pick up on that. You know what I mean?
No.
Especially not right at the start when you have no idea this sort of fast one's being pulled on you. You know what I mean? It's kind of, that's subliminal, man. You know, that's good for a second viewing, but as a major clue for a first viewing, no, bad Denny, bad Denny.
Denny, do you know what you've done, man?
Denny, do you know what to do? Denny.
Shut up, Denny. We've got no context.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're out of your depth, Denny. you got no context here, Denny. You're out of your depth. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, on that note, I think we'll leave it there unless anyone's got anything additional they'd like to add. Anyone?
No, good.
You're all good. Are you sure, Elton?
Yeah.
You're all good? Cool. Okay, well, like I say, the phrase that pays is the film just threw a spider at me and fucked off. So that is our phrase that pays. we will stick by that and do what you will with it on the Facebook group. And now, before we go to Pimp's Corner, if anybody would like to leave any feedback for this episode, as ever, send it in to either feedback@Blackdog Podcast or on the Facebook group, as per usual. Or if you'd like, do send us a message on Blue. What? Yeah, send us a spider through Blue Sky, cartoonbeardy.bsky.social. Right. So, Darren.
Yes.
I'm primed to send a photograph of a timed photograph that I took earlier this evening. I'm primed to send it to you to prove that I figured out what you were going to be sending.
I think we know. I think I know.
But do tell us and the listeners what you were going to pick for next week's movie.
So, as we have obviously seen, we've been through quite a cerebral journey with the last film. A lot of thinking to do about that.
And reading.
And reading and watching. So I'm going to counter that with something that needs no in-depth research afterwards at all. You're going to kind of go, that was the entire package inside there. This thing here, it's like a fucking Dairy Lee Lunchable. It's like, you made your food groups in this one little thing here.
Yeah.
So we are going on a journey back to Finland during World War II for a rather subtly violent film called Sisu.
There you go. Called it at 9:27 this evening. I called it. I've sent the photo proof to you on the Facebook chat. It's right there.
There you go.
Nice.
Yes.
Sisu.
Definitely not a family watch, even though it's 15. I'm starting to get the impression now, after Death of a Unicorn, that 15 is the new 18.
Yes. God knows what you need to have in an 18 these days, but,
Exactly.
Bloody the kids these days don't know they were born.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so the quick question. Has anyone seen Sisu before?
No,
yes,
I've never seen it.
Cool. You have, Jim. Are you looking forward to seeing it again?
Oh, yes. I saw it come up on streaming. I thought I'm going to watch that again.
Yeah.
Is it a cathartic movie, would you say?
I would say.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Excellent.
Yes.
If you want, just bear in mind, this is literally the same people who made Rare Exports.
Yes.
Really?
And the same two leads, the dad and the son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. Not in quite the same way.
No, very different film. Very
Yes, very different film. Elton, have you seen this film before?
I've seen a bit of it. I'd say about half of it.
Yeah.
Because when it came on streaming, I was like, oh, I want to see that. And so I started watching it. Something happened and I haven't gone back to it. I don't know why. So I've seen half.
Don't worry. I think you're fine. I think you can watch it again without too much spoilers.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm going to guess, Darren, you haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it. Just for anybody who's interested, it's on Netflix.
Thank you. Yes, that was going to be my next thing. Yes, it is on Netflix. We are going to watch it, and in these, shall we say, fascistic times.
I think so.
I think you might find those of you who don't share the same point of view as the Mango Mussolini. I think you may find this quite a cathartic watch.
Mm-hmm.
A very cathartic watch. By the way, Frisbee heads up. That's all I'm saying. That is the moment, without a doubt. But anyway, we will be back next week. Well, three of us will. We'll be back next week to review Sisu. And until then, yes, just enjoy that. Enjoy the trip. It's going to be quite the trip. So let's move on to finally the Pimp's Corner. Jim, what's happening over at hypnagoria.com?
I've just released an episode on Roger Corman's film Edgar Allan Poe's The Haunted Palace, which is actually H.P. Lovecraft's The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, for confusing reasons. Right. And later this week, there'll be the new Commentary Club, which is on John Carpenter's The Thing. Mm-hmm. And there will be a reading of a story, but I've got two recorded, and which one goes up depends which one gets its music finished first.
Right.
So there you
go.
Cool.
Lovely. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com.
It is indeed.
Lovely jubbly. And over at Rogue 2 Media, what's happening, Elton?
Cars going around in circles on the Grand Prix podcast, and we're talking about war movies on Band of Brothers podcast. Also, I've been putting up little clips on Instagram and Blue Sky, just music I'm dilly-dallying around with. So if anyone's interested in like 30-second clips, then go over there.
And very good they are too. I like them. I mean, I don't see it on Instagram, but I did see it on...
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same one. Yes, lovely. Lots of satellite dishes.
Well, it's not... I just collaged a load of pictures to go together. But, it's my music.
Yeah. Brilliant. Lovely stuff it is too. So go check Elton out on Blue Sky and, Insta. Right. Okay, and your other stuff on rogue2media.com. Right, that's it. I won't bother asking you, Darren. It's always the same blooming answer. Same as me. Nothing. Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing. So we shall leave it there, and just remember the phrase that pays: the film threw a spider at me and fucked off. And so until next week, when we come back for Sisu, just like to say thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And thank you again for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Until then, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. It's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
I already came for a kebab.